Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Vignesh Swaminathan, and I'm going to give a quick sneak peek of Strata Copilot, which is the AI assistant utilizing natural language interface to get fast, informed responses and accelerate issue resolution across Palo Alto Network products. And when I mean Palo Alto Network products, it includes a plethora of platforms, which is including Prisma Access, Prisma SD-WAN, NGFWs, the cloud delivered security services, ADEM, which is our digital experience monitoring and management platform, data security, IoT, etc. With Strata Copilot, you can ask natural language questions and receive answers to keep your network and security environment in optimal health. Whether you are a security analyst looking to identify potential threats or a network analyst wanting to understand how user experience is impacted. So today we do have a couple of panelists who are experts. We have Ghazal and Samir in the call. We will be taking questions after the presentation is done, but please do ask away any questions on the chat window. Now, moving on, I just wanted to quickly introduce the topic and let you know what you are going to see in the next 45 to 50 minutes. We will be talking about Strata Copilot, how it enables seamless discovery, how it instantly accesses insights and gives you guided recommendation and actions. We will be walking through the Strata Copilot architecture and workflow for you to understand how it works backend. You'll learn how Strata Copilot solves customer use cases. We will also be doing a Copilot deep dive with recorded demos, and I'll also be showcasing live demo where we can look at the data exploration, freeform questions, curated questions, support questions, intelligent support ticket creation with guided remediation, config analyzer for making sure that your security policies are intact and foolproof. We will also be looking at navigation assistance provided by Strata Copilot for Strata Cloud Manager. And finally, we will also be introducing the natural language query using Log Viewer, which is one of the features a lot of customers have been requesting us. And that is something we have brought in with Strata Copilot and Log Viewer integration. Finally, we will talk about key competitive takeaways. How are we different from the competition and what are we doing different? What are the key takeaways you can come out of this presentation with? And finally, some of the resources and call to action. Now let's move forward. This is a question which everybody asks, right? Why do we need Strata Copilot? So the reason we need Strata Copilot, or the reason we built Strata Copilot, was because being a network security administrator is both challenging and complex. Given the threat landscape, which continuously increases, continuously intensifies in terms of attack sophistication, the scale at which it is rapidly increasing and the speed at which it is rapidly increasing, staying secure demands a deep understanding of all the users, applications, and attackers, coupled with rapid response capabilities and optimal utilization of a constantly evolving tool set. So keeping all that in mind, we know that network security teams find themselves stretched thin and burdened with heavy workload. And how does Strata Copilot solve that issue for customers? First thing, it unifies all the data. So you can unlock the full potential of your data across your network and security platform. As I mentioned before, there are a plethora of products which we support, and that is supported, and we are able to extract all that information with the unified data we provide. So we harness the power of generative AI to accelerate IT productivity. As the world becomes more data driven, everything, including LLMs, will be reliant on having a strong foundation of data. If you have to train your model, it has to be pumped in with more data, and you constantly need to evolve and train that. Right? Even though LLMs are incredible tools, they have to be used and implemented on top of this strong data foundation. And that's where Copilot comes in with the unified data. Similarly, when we talk about interacting simplicity, right, we have Strata Copilot. It brings in the natural language powered workflow where you can ask intuitive natural language questions. You can interact with it just like any other member of your team, and it will give you insights, it will give you recommendations and solve your problem. Finally, proactive insights and recommendations, as I was mentioning, accelerates the mean time to resolution with synthesized recommendations, laying that strong foundation across your product to accelerate productivity. Now, moving forward, I wanted to quickly introduce Strata Copilot here. If you look at it, we have a broad and deep knowledge base. So we put all the product knowledge of the Strata network security platform at your fingertips, enabling you to adopt best practices. The Strata Copilot is extremely powerful, and it basically interacts with the Strata network security platform and has a wide range of services and capabilities. Strata Copilot gathers data from over 50,000 vetted sources, including technical documentation and live community blogs, covering end-to-end network security product portfolio, and provides comprehensive insights, as mentioned before, by collecting 5 petabytes of data across our product portfolio on a daily basis. These sources cover all Strata platforms, functionalities across SASE and NGFW deployments. That is the power of Strata Copilot, with all the product knowledge, all the documentation inputted into that, and we can get the right response. Similarly, we provide intelligent AI-driven suggestions, decision support for securing and optimizing your network. Strata Copilot can go beyond understanding how to maximize the use of your network security platform. It helps network security administrators make faster decisions about, let's say, threats, users, architectures, policies, and deployments. So it is a very powerful tool which delivers powerful insights and suggestions and provides a list of curated questions and knowledge base for each and every page, so that a network security admin does not have to be stuck if they don't know what to ask. So it provides that contextual relevance to the content of the page in focus. And finally, delivering intelligent guidance for faster remediation. It accelerates remediation by leveraging Palo Alto Network's best practices from over 70,000 customers and years of network security leadership. And it also brings in the native language of network security. Similarly, you can open support cases. We will be looking at that when I do the demo. And by streamlining that remediation process and guiding users through each step, Strata Copilot enhances productivity and security, taking an important step towards a more autonomous and efficient future of network operations. Now, moving forward, I wanted to quickly touch base on some general use cases of Strata Copilot. As I mentioned, instant access to insights. So if you look at it, it has the product capabilities across the entire Strata Cloud Manager, entire Strata Network Security platform, and you can make easy conversations with it to leverage the entire platform. For example, here, I'm asking it, how do I ensure the Global Protect portal and gateways trust the client certificates? So it's that simple. You can ask free-form questions, you can select from the curated questions, and you can look at the technical references provided by it. So it will give you instant access to insights. And these are some of the examples I wanted to show you of how the conversation can be started in Strata Copilot. Next, immediate understanding. So it uses natural language to get clear answers to complicated network questions. So for example, here, I'm asking it about the different users which are accessing the URL categorized as artificial intelligence, and it is able to provide you with a response. It is able to provide you a graphical representation with all the data you require in a very simplified way. So complex issues can be answered in simplified way. Similarly, guided action. So here you can see that you just have to tell Strata Copilot to open a case. It will automatically create a case headline, and it will start making you input certain details which required to be input, and it'll also give you options to add historical information and evidence. It'll also give you options where you will get a suggested remediation before you open a case to accelerate troubleshooting. And if you're not satisfied with it, you can move on and you can open a case by including files which are evidence, including screen captures. And that's how we can create that guided action and solve your support issues. Now, moving forward, I also wanted to touch base on the Strata Copilot ADEM use cases. So all of us know digital experience monitoring is of utmost importance, and ADEM is a platform which we use as our front face now. And we have specific use cases which Strata Copilot can solve integrating with our ADEM platform. So you just have to use natural language query for proactive monitoring and remediation through Copilot. Let's say, for example, an IT administrator wants to check the overall user experience of the network, and they also want to monitor the overall app experience of the network to proactively identify the issue and remediate it. That can be done through natural language queries through Copilot, and you just have to ask certain questions. I show you the example, and it will give you that proactive monitoring and remediation through the Strata Copilot platform itself. Similarly, let's say a user complains about bad Zoom call experience and you need to drill down into a specific user, identify the issue and remediate it. You can take reactive measures through Copilot natural language query to answer those questions, to find out why a particular user has an issue and how you can remediate that issue. Now, if you look at the quick example I've given here, you can look at the overall experience of your network. So you just have to ask, how is the overall experience, user experience of my network? And it'll automatically give you response with graphical representations, with data, and it will also tell you how this response was generated and what is the timeline. And you can choose the timeline, you can make changes in your Strata Cloud Manager dashboard, and that will reflect on the Strata Copilot as well. So you can clearly see here that it gives you an idea of the overall user experience, the average application score, and how your network's health is doing, how your user experience is doing. Similarly, if you look at the next example I'm providing, this is for reactive monitoring. You can simply ask it, what is the overall user experience of Global Protect user? I've taken an example of Brian Campbell here, and it is able to respond with the overall user experience, and it will also give you why this response is there and what's the duration and how this response is generated. So it's pretty simple. You can easily identify those issues by drilling down into per user experience, and from here you can go deeper and get the user experience score. What are the different applications which are not performing well for the user Brian Campbell, etc. Moving forward, I wanted to quickly touch upon the architecture. As we all know, so this is some architecture information I'm giving here. We support a plethora of platforms. As mentioned before, Prisma Access, Prisma SD-WAN, next generation firewall, data security, IoT, etc. And how do we do that? So each Copilot service is responsible for connecting with the NetSec router. So we have a router which basically, once the user inputs their query in the Strata Cloud Manager UI under Strata Copilot, it sends the query to the NetSec router, and it is routed to the specific copilots depending on what the question is. It also checks your log service, which is their backend, to pull out the data and the specific Strata Copilot. For example, let's say the question is directed to Prisma Access. So it will go to the specific Prisma Access Copilot, and the backend will be able to answer that question for you. Similarly, if it is a question about Prisma SD-WAN, it will go to the specific Copilot, and we will be able to provide that answer with the context for the specific product. And I'll show you how each Copilot page has different curated questions and different tech documentation, which can be used for specific products as well. This was a quick overview on the Strata Copilot architecture. Now let's talk about the Strata Copilot workflow. I wanted to quickly talk about the workflow, what happens backend. So when you ask a Copilot question, Whenever the router receives the request, it will check if the question is curated or not. The UI already has a list of all the curated questions. If the user selects one of the curated questions, then the Copilot knows the question ID and it will trigger the curated question workflow, where based on the question ID, we'll have all the information available in the backend, and then the specific request will be forwarded to the specific Copilot as shown in the earlier slide. Now, let's say that the user asked a free-form question or a paraphrase question, or the meaning is the same as the curated question, or it's just free-form. When the Copilot receives the request, it is considered as a free-form request at the routing layer, and the NetSec router will make an LLM call for which we are using the fine-tuned LLM model to extract the entity, intent, and subintent out of that question. And based upon that information, Copilot will prepare a response for the query. It will go completely free-form, which means based upon the intent and subintent, the router will pick one of the Copilot services and then forward it to the corresponding Copilot service, where based upon the information that has been distributed from the router downstream, the Copilot service will prepare an answer and respond back. So this is the workflow Strata Copilot follows to make the customer's life easier by giving multiple options for customer query search, including free-form, paraphrased, curated questions. And that is processed, reducing the LLM dependency because we have curated questions and free-form questions. So it is such a simple workflow where curated questions are forwarded as curated and free-form are forwarded as free-form. And the magic happens back in to answer those questions for you with the right explanation and right recommendations. Now, moving forward, let me get into the demo. I just wanted to quickly show you how the Copilot works. And before that, let's see how we can launch Copilot, right? So if you look at the dashboard here, it is embedded interface invoked from the right side of the Strata Cloud Manager page. The feature can be easily summoned from any page in Strata Cloud Manager. You will find the curated question catalog and the knowledge base articles that are relevant to the content of the Strata Cloud Manager page in focus. And if you see, there will be fixed number of curated questions and technical references which are linked to a particular page in reference and based on the user's context. As I mentioned, this is the curated question. This is the technical references. And you can also create a support ticket directly from Strata Copilot. Now, moving forward, if let's say, go to a different dashboard, I'm going to the threats dashboard, and you can see that the curated questions and technical references change. Similarly, if I go to a different dashboard now, SASE Health, it will automatically populate it with the curated questions and technical references for that particular dashboard, which will help the customers navigate easily, which will help the customers ask easy questions. And this can be achieved very easily through Copilot for specific services. Also, I wanted to show you that we also have options to look at the history, task manager, and we can expand the Copilot into a 75% window. Here you can see that we have the data explore option where you can see the freeform query search bar. You have the start a conversation search bar with curated questions for you, and you have the technical references with create a support ticket. Similarly, if we go to recent, you can look at the different historical questions you have asked with evidence. So you can go back to any historical question. Similarly, you can choose favorites. So if you click on any of the questions, you can add it to the favorites list as shown there. And you can look at the task manager. For example, if there is any kind of analysis running behind the scenes, that will be shown in the task manager of Strata Copilot, and it will also let you know how much time it will take. So in this example, there are certain tasks which were running for accessing specific URLs, and there was an analysis done, which is why you are able to see that in the task manager. It also shows you when it was initiated and when it was completed. So we have a plethora of information given by the Strata Copilot dashboard. Now, we also can create support tickets. As I mentioned here, you just have to click on create support ticket and it'll automatically create that support ticket for you. with the description in case you want to just add it automatically. So it creates a description for you automatically, and you can just click on next and it will start creating the support case. So you can see here that it also gives you references. It gives you an option to do thumbs up, thumbs down with already selected responses for you. You can also customize your response, and you can raise a support ticket if you are not satisfied with an answer and you're looking for a solution where you need to raise a support ticket. You can do it with the thumbs down option, where you click on get tech support and submit. It'll automatically start opening the case, the workflow which you just saw a slide before. So that was the quick overview of how to launch Strata Copilot and how to navigate through Strata Copilot to ask specific questions, to get help regarding any kind of queries, and to use the technical documentation. Now let's take a quick look at the capabilities Strata Copilot offers. There are a plethora of capabilities, and this is something I wanted to touch on. I just wanted to tell you the different use cases we solve, and we will be looking at each use case from the Strata Copilot dashboard itself. So I have some live demos I want to show you through our Strata Copilot dashboard. But here are the capabilities. We have a log viewer where you can ask natural language questions. We've had customers raise this issue and they've told us that they want a natural language process under the log viewer. So when we go to the log viewer, we can actually filter out specific traffic. We can look at specific thread traffic through the log viewer, and that required specific viewer queries to be entered in the platform. But now with Copilot, we can ask natural language questions, which will automatically be converted into a log viewer query, and you can filter out the traffic desired to troubleshoot further. Similarly, we have something called as Access Analyzer. So here, let's say you are struggling to access a particular website, a particular URL. It will help you analyze the access information to a particular URL, particular FQDN, and it will lead you to the Access Analyzer page, giving you more details on it. So you can utilize it when you want to understand how a user is accessing a specific site, a specific FQDN, and a specific IP address. You can basically use the Access Analyzer integrated with natural language questions through Copilot and get your questions answered. As shown before, we do have the data visualization where we can graphically represent statistical information. For example, if you want to look at how many threads are there in your network as of today, or let's say you want to look at the top 5 service connections which have been down for the past 24 hours. It will generate the information and it'll also give you graphical representations in the form of a bar chart, in the form of a pie chart, and you can utilize that data, which is easy to produce if you want to show that as evidence or show that to the leadership for some reason, right? And we also have support responses. So you can ask support questions where it will give you details on how to navigate to something, how to access something. Let's say, for example, you want to find out how to go to the incidents and alerts page to find out what are the latest incidents happening in the network. You can ask a free-form question or a curated question as a support question, and it will give you the response with the details of how to go to that incidents and alerts page and find out about the incidents alerts. So, similarly, we have page navigation. If you are having difficulties navigating around Strata Cloud Manager, as there is a huge workflow through Strata Cloud Manager, you simply have to ask Strata Copilot how to navigate to a page or where do I go to check this, and it will automatically respond with the specific link, and you can click on it to enter into that Strata Cloud Manager page for any kind of configurations or monitoring. We have IOC search as well. We can look at the details about accessing a website. For example, if you want to know who has been accessing google.com or is accessing google.com safe. So IOC search will help you use a URL category, a domain name, an IP address, and it'll give you details on that particular category, which you can filter out and understand if there is any kind of issues with the website or malicious activity with the website. We have config analyzer as well, which basically does a sanity check when you create security policies. according to the best practices, and it will give you recommendations so that you have a foolproof security policy set. And we will see all this in a demo. Finally, we have already seen this intelligent case creation and remediation. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining this, as we have already seen this before. So now that we have looked at the use cases, let's quickly take an example. All right. So the first use case, let's say a user is not able to access Salesforce application. So I'm going to quickly go to my dashboard and I'm going to start showing you how Pilot can solve that for you. Give me a quick second. I'm signing in right now. And this is where you can look at the Strata. It's on the right hand side. And this is our dashboard. I'm showing a live demo right now. You can look at the last updated time here. But yeah, let's say we take an example. Let's take a use case where the network as security administrator is hearing complaints from users about access issues with Salesforce, right? With the Salesforce application. We can check with Copilot on what users are denied access to Salesforce in the last 24 hours. So let's say I ask a simple question. What users are denied access to Salesforce in the last 24 hours? And it'll automatically provide you with a response. It'll show you the different users who have been denied access to Salesforce in the last 24 hours. And it basically gives you the response of each and every user which has been denied the access to Salesforce in the last 24 hours. And you can choose any of the users and you can ask which rule has been blocking the users. And it will also give you a response for that, showing here is the response for NetSec Insights, where it will show you the specific rule it is being hit. And that is the rule which is blocking a specific user from accessing Salesforce. So once you see that freeform question answered on the Strata Copilot, you can basically go to the log viewer and you can start troubleshooting it, right? So if you see, there is the magic link for Strata Copilot here. So once I click on the magic link, you will be able to answer a natural language query. So for example, I say show all denied sessions for Salesforce base, and it will immediately return with the specific traffic for it. It'll be able to show you what are the different traffic which is being denied. So it converts it into the natural language, the log viewer query from the natural language. And when you click on it, it'll automatically filter out the traffic. So you can see here that it is filtering out the traffic. It is showing you the source users, destinations, and it is filtering out the application Salesforce base, and it shows the action deny, and it also shows the rule. So you can click on it and you can filter out the specific rules, filter out the specific user, etc. Now, let's take a use case where customers are complaining about issues accessing specific FQDN's IP addresses, right? Let me go back to the Copilot. Let me refresh this. So now let's say I ask just to find out about the issues accessing a specific FQDN IP address. Let's say I choose a user and I say, can this user access slack.com based on the current policy? So it'll automatically give you a response where you can see that it does a multi-domain analysis and it'll point you to the access analyzer page. So as you can see, the Copilot has done multi-domain analysis, which has been triggered, and it has given you the analysis report where you can click on it and it will take you to the Access Analyzer query. And you can see in the task manager that it is still running. So it is generating that analysis. We can come back to this and I'll show you that this will be populated with the specific analysis for slack.com with all the different security policies. Let's say a network security admin has to give statistical data to the leadership regarding number of users accessing AI-based URLs, right? So if I go here type in what is the total number of users browsing to a URL categorized as artificial intelligence within the last 7 days, grouped by application name. It'll automatically show you a graphical representation of it, and it'll give you a quick summary. For example, as shown here, it'll show you in the last 7 days, there were 1579 users browsing to a URL categorized as artificial intelligence, and it'll categorize those applications as well. And you can definitely change the view into whatever statistical representation you want to give in and whatever the leadership is asking for. It'll also tell you how this response is generated. It'll also give you an information icon, and it'll tell you that this data was generated for the last 7 days. Now, let's go to the analysis. So I already have an analysis here. So just to give you a quick view of that, right? So it'll give you the results on the endpoint health, the different security policies. You can see that it is healthy. You can also see the application details, the device details, source details, and it will also show you the user and endpoint being online and the different security policies it is hitting for slack.com, right? So this is as simple as that. And you can definitely look at the access analyzer from the Strata Copilot itself, and it'll help you get your desired answers. Now, moving forward, I also wanted to show you a very simplistic use case where you need to navigate to a particular dashboard, a particular page, because a lot of times what happens is customers do not know where to go. Network security admins do not know where to go, and they are struggling while navigating. So you can ask a very specific free-form question to Copilot. For example, let's say I want to change this to dark mode or light mode, right? So I'll just ask a quick question, where do I change to dark mode? And it'll give me a response with the navigation results going to the user preference page where you can see the dark and light mode. And if you click on it, it'll automatically help you configure that. Let's say I want to ask where can I find user application experience trends, right? So as I go and ask it, where can I find user application experience trend? It will automatically return navigation results. So you can see that there are a plethora of results where you can find this data, and you can click on, let's say, the activity insights, and it will take you to the user's page, and it will give you the trends for the user. You can dive down to a particular user, look at the activity, look at the connect, and you can also look at the experience score for a particular user, the device it is using, the different applications. You can also get a quick view of the traffic, how it is being sent from the device to a particular application, and you can keep on choosing the application to know about the results. So it is that simple. Copilot can help you navigate through Strata Cloud Manager dashboard, which is a very simplistic use case, but is very powerful and helps you a lot there as well. Moving forward, let me go to the presentation mode now. Now I'll be talking about the next feature, which we have, the config analyzer. So you can use the config analyzer to define a security policy. You can use it to define best practices. I'll show you how that is done. So if you look at it here, I've basically invoked Copilot, and I've added a security policy rule here. And you can see that it gives you that security check passed. It gives you the required configurations you need to do. It gives you the recommendations. You can follow these required and recommended steps, and automatically you can configure a foolproof security policy here. You can see that we have passed the security check, and we have also taken into consideration all the recommended and required steps. And now we can hit save to apply that security policy to your network. So this is very simple. You just have to go to the config analyzer and invoke the Strata Copilot, and it will give you those recommendations. Next, go to intelligent case creation. As I mentioned, when you are looking at some of your tunnels, some of your network issues, you need to raise support tickets. And it's very simple. Let's say you ask, why are my tunnels down? And from there, you open a case. It'll give you references. You can create a new support case. You can add the details, and you can also upload your documents. You can also upload videos. etc. Let's say if your tunnel is down and you want to raise a case for that, it'll give you recommendations and you can use those recommendations, or you can go ahead and create the case for TAC to take a look into it if it is complicated. It's that simple. Copilot can do all these things for you. Now, I also wanted to talk about the troubleshooting tips with Copilot. It's pretty simple. Whenever you want to troubleshoot a particular issue on the Copilot UI, you just have to launch Copilot UI that reports an issue. You need to right click on the page and click inspect, select network tab, make sure preserve log option is checked, reproduce the issue, click the download button and select export HAR. Once you export it, you will have the HAR file for troubleshooting purposes. Now let's quickly look at how that's done. So as I mentioned here, you launch the Copilot, you right click on the page and click inspect, you choose network tab, you make sure that the preserve log is enabled and just click on download where you can export the HAR file and save it and then use for troubleshooting purpose. So here I chose a question, but depending on what problem you have, you can directly do this by downloading the HAR file and sending it for troubleshooting purposes. Now, moving forward, just a quick look on the Copilot license. Basically, Strata Copilot is free. It just requires Prisma Access, Telemetry, and Strata Cloud Manager. It is included in the Strata Cloud Manager license. So you will get all this capability if you have the basic licenses. But there is a specific requirement if you want telemetry, if you want answers to specific products, you might require certain licenses for those products. But if you're operating it from the base license, you do have Strata Copilot capabilities, which is a huge differentiator. It is practically given to you for free and you can use that easily. Now let's take a quick look at the competitive differentiators. I wanted to touch on what are the key competitive differentiators we have. As I mentioned, it is available to all users for different platforms. So it's a one-stop shop where you can basically go to the Strata Cloud Manager, invoke Strata Copilot, and use it for all your network security products, whether it is SASE, whether it is NGFW, whether it is security services, whether it is data security, IoT, etc. You have that available. When it comes to the competition, we have a huge differentiator because we can unify this platform for your whole security suite, network security platform. Similarly, licensing, as I showed before, it is part of the SEM based license. So it's very easy to consume from a licensing perspective. But in case of a lot of our competitive vendors, they need additional licensing, additional add-ons for enabling specific Copilot products, specific natural language query assistants. Right. Similarly, when it comes to support cases, as I showed you, we have support case creation from Strata Copilot itself. That is necessarily not there in a lot of our competitive vendors. They do not have support creation and remediations through the support case creation itself for a specific problem. So in our case, we have those guided remediations so that you don't even need to raise a support ticket. And in case you need to, you can easily do that through the Strata Copilot. Similarly, we have visibility and deep insights into experience of branch users. We have deep insights into ADEM. We have deep insights into a lot of different platforms, but there is limited to no telemetry on branch side coverage for a lot of different competitive vendors out there. Similarly, as I showed, we have technical documentation, we have technical references, which keep on changing and are invoked on the Copilot page for specific products, and that can be utilized for quick answers. But our competitive vendors out there do not have technical documentation support through their natural language assistant. They might be able to answer basic questions. So it is limited support when it comes to a lot of competitive vendors out there. As shown before, we have generative visuals, including different chart types for statistic-based data, which can be used for specific use cases, as mentioned before. But in our competitive vendors case, a lot of different competitive vendors only have snippets shown from existing dashboards on the UI. It's not as intuitive as Strata Copilot. Also, we have a single pane of glass, as I mentioned, for network infrastructure, security posture, and app experience. whereas the competition out there has a fragmented approach with network security management because of their fragmented portfolio, fragmented platforms. As shown in the demo, Config Analyzer is one important differentiator we have. We provide step-by-step process for security policy creation, utilizing PAN's best practices, which is something unique to Strata Copilot. Similarly, we have page navigation. It makes the life of a network security admin so easy. You can just ask natural language questions and you can land up on a Strata Cloud Manager page. And it spans across any page in Strata Cloud Manager, whereas the competitive vendors will not be able to do that. Finally, just wanted to talk to you about the key takeaways. As mentioned, one-stop shop solution. We wanted to tell you the data and the experience we bring in with Strata Copilot because of the experience we have in the industry for network security. We gather so much data. We pump in petabytes of data to help Strata Copilot answer your queries and solve your issues. We have natural language query with log viewer. That's another key takeaway, which makes filtering traffic for troubleshooting much simpler using natural language query, page navigation, simplified licensing, intelligent case creation, and config analyzer. So these are some of the key takeaways we can highlight when it comes to our Strata Copilot product. Finally, the resources. These are some of the blogs which have come out. Please take a look at it and you will be able to understand how Copilot works, how Copilot can solve your issues for different use cases, and we have some launch announcement details as well. That's about it from a presentation standpoint. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us.